Good day. The ICAP Virtual Career Connections is pleased to present this career enhancement tool for your advancement. The topic of this session is Career Success Stories, featuring Balancing Volunteering and Work by Tammy Cannon. We appreciate Tammy Cannon for generously sharing her success stories for the benefit of many. Who is ICAP Professional Services and who is ICAP Virtual Career Connections? ICAP Professional Services is a social enterprise with the purpose of creating jobs in our community by enhancing employability and strengthening job creators. For more information about ICAP, please visit our website at www.icap.net. Let's give you a bird's eye view of the full range of ICAP programs. ICAP is the home of virtual career connections, enhancing employability anytime, anywhere. Community career promoter, promoting you to the next level. International circle, building your proficiency in English, technology, and social enterprise. Creative Genius Apprenticeship, elevating you to lead innovation. For more information about these programs, please visit www.icap.net and look for a special link for each program. In Career Success Stories, our guests address the following career questions. Question number 1. What are the best insightful career tips that you received from others? Question number 2. What are career lessons that you learned the hard way? Question number 3. What are your career journey stages or milestones? Question number 4. What actions in the past led you to secure jobs? In other words, what did you do right to secure jobs in the past? Question number 5. What actions led you or contributed to your advancements, promotions, and pay raises? Question number 6. What advice would you give to your younger version? Question number 7. What are career-related questions for which you are still seeking answers? Enjoy the presentation.
So our guest for tonight is Ms. Tammy Cannon. As our previous guest before, she has an amazing career that spans through the past 35 years. She has a diverse background. She does pretty much plenty of things. She wears different hats. Just to mention a couple of positions she has worked on. Currently, she is the CEO and president of TLC Enterprise. She has served as a director of business development at Brockdale. She was also an assistant director of career services at the Art Institute. She has served as a sales executive at Apollo Education Groups as well. Other than that, she has worked for different companies such as Citibank, Allstate, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Florida. She has done her master's from University of Phonics and Management. She has a bachelor's of art from University of North Florida. Besides that, as I've said, she wears different hats. She's a public speaker. She is a life coach. She's an event planner. She is a career development coach. With that introduction, Ms. Tammy, thank you very much for sharing your time and willingness to share your career stories. Before I start asking the questions, please feel free to introduce yourself for our audience.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so very much for that phenomenal introduction. I just want to simply say I am a servant leader. That summarizes who I am in a nutshell. The things that you spoke about are just some of the things that I've done under that umbrella. I'm proud of those, but in summary, I'm a servant leader. I would like to say I'm currently living my best blessed life as an employee benefits consultant, and I'm simply helping businesses attract, retain, and maintain morale through a plethora of services focusing right now on supplemental benefits through a wonderful company that I'm now assigned to, and that's Aflac. So again, my career spans from a many multitude of Fortune 500 companies. I am now the CEO of my own destiny as the president and CEO of TLC Enterprise. And under that consultant hat, I'm now consulting small businesses as well. So thank you so very much for that wonderful introduction. But I'm simply God's daughter and a servant leader.
What a great way to put it, servant leader. Like leadership is like the crucial part of career development, I believe. Thank you very much, Ms. Tammy. So I was looking and going through your LinkedIn profile. Besides like serving different companies over 35 years, you have volunteered for different companies, like ranging from like more than, I would say, 5 years. So how important is like being a volunteer for you? Like, what are you trying to serve through that volunteership? Walk us through your volunteer experience, and then like how important is it to develop ourselves through our careers?
Yeah, thank you so very much. Volunteering, I think, is the core of who I am. The working just pays for my lifestyle. If I could volunteer and get paid to volunteer, even if it was minimal, that's what I would do for the rest of my life. I volunteer in areas of developing young people. I've volunteered with 2 mayors through working with Gabe Hamda. He was the first one to have me volunteer for one of the mayors downtown. The students voted me in to speak to the entire graduating class. My focus is getting young people where they need to be, where they were born to be, through structure, love, and accountability. And I've worked with many organizations. The focus has been the young people, the millennials, because sometimes they're not heard, they're not understood. So I take time, my personal time, to work with them. And one of my success stories, if I could say this really quickly, because I'm just going to talk as things come to me, was a young lady that I was working with through one of the mayor's summer youth programs. I mentored her. She was finishing up school at University of North Florida. I mentored her in such a way that when she got married, I marched in her wedding behind her mother, and we're still connected. So if I could say anything in summary, mentoring and volunteering is my core. I work to sustain my lifestyle. That's bread, butter, car, house, and such. But if I had any nuggets, it would be for those of you that could mentor each one, teach one. I recommend you doing so. And that time will come back sevenfold. So giving back is one of the major things that I do. And again, those things are listed on my LinkedIn profile.
So far, what are the best insightful career tips that you received from others till now? And what are the career tips that you can give us today that can apply for all of us?
Thanks for your question. Well, working in corporate environments for 30 plus years, I've had many leaders speak into my life. Some of those insightful career tips that stand out to me are, the first one is, I remember one of the managers that I worked with at Allstate, her name was Pearl. And she saw me giving, doing for everyone. And she saw me kind of getting burnt out. And the thing that Miss Pearl told me was, Tammy, she called me in her office. She said, Tammy, always be true to yourself. And I thought, well, Miss Pearl, that's kind of selfish. Like, I want to serve others. I was born to serve. And when I looked it up, it says, being true to yourself is a personal choice for truth. Making choices about how you want to live. Being true to yourself means you don't worry about pleasing other people, living by someone else's standards or rules. You don't care what people think of you. You live as your natural self without compromise. And that has reigned true for many, many, many years. I always speak in threes, so when you ask questions, it will probably be 3 answers. The second is, always do the right thing, even when no one is looking. And then this is what I always said to myself, knowing He, my Heavenly Father, sees, hears, and knows all. And I always attach that to the word integrity. It means you do what you need to always do, knowing that it's the right thing at all times. even when it may be difficult or when you have to stand alone. And third, I always stay humble. And I looked up what humble means. Sometimes when you're in careers for a long time, you kind of forget the basics, but these three things have reigned true. So when I looked up the word humble, it says to not be proud or arrogant, to be modest, to be humble, although successful. Having a feeling of inferiority is not being humble. And it's also what I call it is knowing who you are, regardless of what position you're in, and always remembering how you got there. And I think a lot of people, once they make it to leadership roles or even doctors or lawyers, they kind of forget how they got there. And I always like to talk in stories, and I'll close with this particular scenario. My mom is very ill, and the doctors were just rambling off information and throwing out questions. And I stopped them and I said, take off your doctor's coat and tell me about your mother. Forget about the numbers, forget about the amount of patients that you have in beds, and remember how you got where you are. And whenever people go back to how they got where they are and they remain humble, that is, I think, the best way to have a successful career. And that's just my 3 points.
What a great insight. We tend to focus on technical and non-technical skills throughout careers, and we tend to forget like the essential core values of being a human. So you talked about core values such as integrity, staying humble, modesty, and being true to yourself. I really appreciate that, and I'm sure these core values are values that can help us through our careers as well. Thank you very much. How do you balance fulfilling volunteer work with a busy work schedule?
That's a very good question. And whenever I used to go in for interviews because I'm now the CEO of my own business, but the persons doing the interview would always ask, how do you balance that? And that's the easiest question ever. What I found is people always find time to do things that they want to do. So if volunteering is important to me, I made sure I put that in my schedule, and it was a part of what I do. There are multiple organizations that I work with, and I have been working with for many years. They have events annually. So my calendar is marked annually for those particular events, and it's been that way for many years. Anything that a person wants to do, they get it done by any means necessary. So since volunteering is the driver of what keeps me going and what motivates me and is the gas in my mental tank, that has to always be a part of who I am. And it's just putting it in your calendar, either on your phone, on a paper calendar, whatever it is, and having an accountability partner to say, are you doing this? Are you doing what makes you happy? So in closing for that particular question, you put it on your calendar, you have an accountability partner, and you remember what the driver is and what you like to do, and then that will make that happen.
What a great answer. I would like to add a question on that. So, let it be, it could be volunteering, or it could be your career. There are times, hard times that you go through where you feel so unproductive, well, you feel so less rewarding, especially when you're volunteering. Your rewards are based on a lot of circumstances that are way beyond you. So how do you manage to go out of this situation? How do you see the better day, when the tough gets going and when it gets hard?
Okay. I think what everyone needs to have, Tom's on the line, he's my coach at AFLAC, and he reminded me, Tammy, have 30 minutes of reflection one day a week. Starting my own business, I forgot about that. I forgot about my Tammy time. When I worked in the corporate environment, I would set aside time to go to the spa and just regroup, re-energize, to find out what's the purpose for me being here. Why am I a servant leader? What differentiates me from the rest? And what I found is every single time I slowed down to smell the roses, to evaluate my purpose, and to spend time with my Heavenly Father. And I also love singing. Singing is a great way for me to release, encourage others, and to regain my purpose. So I would say time of reflection, having a time to relax. If you're, not a Christian, whatever that thing is that that gets you going and is your foundation, make sure you have something in place that can recharge you when you can't do it in the natural. And another thing I would say is have people around you that aren't leeches, that aren't just sucking the life out of you. If you're ever around people or a group of people and you sit at the table and you're like, oh my gosh, my energy just zapped, it just left me. Those are not the people you want to be around. You want to be around people that are motivated and encouraging and uplifting. And third, I would just say it goes back to that first thing. Always be true to yourself. Always be true to yourself. So I hope that helps. And I'm just talking from my heart. I don't have anything really written down. I'm just flowing, if that's okay.
Yeah, I can really feel that. I really love the positive energy and then the perspective that you're putting. Usually, like, we are like getting a different perspective that tends to focus on technicalities, So thank you for bringing this up, So
My
you talked
pleasure.
about, setting yourself with positive energy, like following your passion and working on a good state of mind is always essential in hard times. Thank you very much again.
My pleasure.
Going to the next question. What are career lessons that you learned the hard way?
Ooh, wow. I'm just going to say the main one was working in the corporate environment for many years and training and mentoring a lot of young people that had never worked in a corporate environment, teaching them the values of being on time, doing what you say you're going to do, dressing for success. What I was doing was trusting and believing everyone and believing the best in everyone. But being in management and director roles in corporate America and working in Fortune 500 companies, that would work temporarily until someone kind of fell off the ledge a little bit. So what I always did was, even though I always believed the best out of everyone, their intentions are pure, they mean to do the right thing, guess what I had to do? I had to always trust and verify. An example of that would mean, if a person told me that, oh, Miss Tammy, I was clocking in at this particular time or such and such, because I was accountable for what leadership said, I would have to pull reports and say, well, if you're in the parking lot at 7 o'clock, as per this report, you're not at your desk at 7 o'clock. So I learned very, very early in my career, even though people had, their best, motives and intents and such, I still had to trust and verify and let them know I cared, but that I was accountable to many different levels. And the accountability partners wanted to make sure that I was doing the right thing as well, because my career was on the line. And that would be the main one that I would say for this one.
Great answer, Ms. Tammy. So making the right balance between trusting and then doing what you're supposed to do is always a challenge for a lot of people. So thank you for bringing that up. So when we spoke with like different guests, the next question is like on milestone. So most people would say it's always good to have a career milestone, and some people would say, oh, I just like go with the flow, like I just don't plan ahead and so on. But what are your thoughts on this? Like, is it good to have a career milestone, or like, have you ever had career milestones over the years? If you can walk us through that.
Yes, I've had multiple stages throughout my career. From the exploration stage, where you're asking questions, you're meeting people, you're learning everything that you want to learn about your career and opportunities, and learning about your transferable skills and such. And then I moved from that to like progress in that stage. You knew where you were headed, you're making the right career directions, doing a lot of preliminary planning, figuring out how to get from point A to point B and such, gaining mentors. But what I found was the best thing that I could do in my career was know what I wanted my end result to be. And knowing what my end result was going to be helped me to get there. Working in the corporate environment for 35 years, and I'm going to use a strong word here, the corporate environment kind of prostituted my gifts and all of the gifts that God gave me to help people get where they need to be. And in doing so, I wanted to always be the CEO of my own business so that I could always help people get where they need to be and be very successful in their careers as well. So I would say I'm living, again, my best blessed life right now. And I've reached that at the age of 53. I'm really seeing an impact as I'm helping small businesses, attract and retain and keep morale really high for their employees. And with that plethora of options that I have available, that is reaching the plethora and living the Zoe life of a business owner. So I must say, I think I'm kind of there, if I could use that. And my goal now is to each one teach one and to bring others along on the ride to true entrepreneurship, like my buddy, Mr. Gabe Hamda. I must say he was a true mentor to me. He showed me my worth. He reminded me of who I am. And when I would talk about the hiccups that I had in the corporate environment, he said, Tammy, all of that was to get you where you are today. And I'm proud of you because you didn't sink and you didn't succumb to your environment. You continued to strive and thrive. And now look at you. So I would say I'm living my best Zoe life right now. And I'm just in a really good place through all of those different phases of my career.
So what actions led you to secure those jobs? Is there anything particular you can tell us about? Is it your approach? Is it like preparedness? What really worked for you?
Yes, I do a lot of mentoring for a multitude of organizations in Jacksonville. A lot of them are young people, but I'm finding that the core foundation of the things we used to do have been lost, and all of this new stuff that we're doing in technology. So I just stick to the basics. I always dressed for the job that I ultimately wanted, not the job I was in. For example, a lot of the jobs in corporate America said business casual and this, that, and the other. And what I found was, okay, that worked, but what differentiated me from the others? So what I always did was I dressed for the job that I wanted. So when they're looking for the next team leader, I started at Blue Cross in the 80s, 1988. I was going to work when people were leaving work. I was going, I think, at 4:30 in the evening and working overnight as a claims analyst. So what I would do is come into Blue Cross at night with a suit on. As a 19-year-old, I just aged myself. I'm 53. I'm proud of it. Mm-hmm. And what I found was they looked at me differently. They would ask, they say, you just do claims? And I said, no, it's not that I do claims. What I did was I would position the claims on the stand, and I was acting like I was a doctor seeing patients versus just flipping claims over every night. So simply, I would dress for the job that I want, not the job that I was in. The second thing that I would do is I would continually ask questions. Now, people that aren't secure or confident or really know who they are or what they're doing, it would intimidate them sometimes. But when they saw the heart behind the questions, the heart of me really wanting to learn and be better and grow, and I would always build them up as well, then what I found was they loved it because they saw the advancement. When people are teaching you or mentoring you, and you give back and you do what they say do, they keep giving to you. So when I asked questions, I wasn't asking questions just to see where people were. I was asking questions to really learn, first of all, the culture. Each Fortune 500 company that I worked for, it was a totally different culture. I had to make sure I helped ask questions to help navigate those landmines. Because if you step on the wrong toe or you ask the wrong question, you're out of there. They won't do it directly, but indirectly, yeah, you're pretty much out of there. So that was the second thing, continue to ask questions. And then I would differentiate myself from the others. Who am I? What am I here to do? What's going to make me stand out from the other claims analysts when I started at Blue Cross? And when I worked, I mean I worked. And what I would always ask for was the blueprint. What is the blueprint to success? If people are successful in this role, how did they get there? What are they doing? Because if they're successful, then it works. And then when I would find out what that blueprint was, I would do that and double it. And then that showed them that I was serious about what I was doing. This particular one is one of my favorites, so I have more than 3 answers. The next one was I would ask for a mentor or a coach. So with that blueprint, who's following the blueprint? Who are they? And with that, can I have one as a mentor or coach so that I could do the same thing? And then what you do when you get those mentors or coaches, you do that and you exceed it. I always created and established long-term professional relationships. I have relationships that stem from the 80s all the way now to 2020. Each job that I went to, I always took them with me. Hi, I'm no longer doing this. I'm no longer doing business-to-business sales here. I'm now, helping people with their retirement, get into a retirement home. And they would pay $7,000 to move their loved ones into an organization because I worked there. So I spent a lot of time on that as well. And then I was just a visionary regarding my own career. If I wasn't a visionary regarding my career, then who could be? And then the last 2, I wanted to always know the evaluation process. How do I get from point A to point B? Who does the evaluation? Is it non-biased? Is it on soft skills? Is it on hard skills? How do I get to my next step? When I started my job, I was already looking forward to the promotion. And then I always had razor sharp focus. When I'm at work, I'm at freaking work. Now, people that's on this call know that I play real hard. If you have me at an event, Gabe knows this. If you have me and everyone, if you have me at an event, I'm the life of the party. Everybody knows me before I leave. But I promise you, when I'm at work, if I have an assignment or if I have a project to do, they say, give it to Tammy, because we know that it'll get done. So those are some of the things that are attributed to that.
Thank you very much. You actually answered half of the next question, but for this one, you talked about making an impression, asking questions, having that urge to learn, and of course, find your mentor or coach. So mentorship is usually raised up in most of our session. And I remember this individual asked this next question. He was asking, where do I find mentors? Like, is there a specific place I look into without spatially a work setting? Like, if you're like someone who's looking for a job, how do I get mentors? That was the question she asked. So if you have anything to add on that, please feel free to do so. If not, if you can elaborate more on the previous question, because the next question was, what actions on your part led you to advancement and promotions? You kind of brought up advancement in the previous question as well. Feel free to combine those 2 questions together.
Yes. Regarding the mentorship, every single job that I've ever had, I've always asked for a mentor. I don't know why or how, but it's not anything formal. There are a lot of mentorship programs. I'm a part of some of them. I help with some mentorship. I do it through my business, TLC Enterprise LLC. I mentor a lot of people. But mentorship just means what I just said. Ask management, who has been successful in this role? Who is following the blueprint and doing it well? And then all that means is that is your contact person for questions. What I find was the hardest in working in multiple Fortune 500 companies, I'm going to be honest with you, was learning the culture. The culture can make or break you. Each company had its own unique culture, vibe, mission, vision. I would always, find out what, through the SWOT analysis, what are their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. I always brought something to the company. So don't get the word mentorship into a category of something formal, even though there are mentorship programs. A mentor is just someone in the company, someone in your personal life, someone in your church life, someone in your life that is doing what you want to do. And you ask them formally, and I get asked this all the time. Now I can't do it as much as I used to because I'm building a business. And you ask them, can you please be my mentor? And they may ask, what does that mean? That means teaching me the ropes, teaching me the culture, teaching me about, the company. And then it also means the bad things. I always ask my mentors to tell me areas where I need to grow. A lot of people don't want that. But the only way I was able to grow was to learn what I did wrong and how I could do it differently. And now that doesn't mean I did everything they told me. I separated the wheat from the tare, and I took on what I wanted to take with me to the next job or the next role or the next opportunity. But mentorship just means asking someone that's doing what you like to do if they could help you get to where they got. And then you do the same thing. As I said at the beginning of the call, each one teach one.
Those are pretty much essential insights. Thank you very much for that. Someone who knows you very well is asking, how do you switch from a singing Tammy to the corporate Tammy? How did the singing affect the
Oh, God, that's a good question. Oh, man. Wow. I have been singing, since I was a little girl. I would stand by the piano, and the piano was taller than me. I never forgot this. God, I never forgot this. And my grandmother would take me to what they called back in the day prayer meetings. And at those prayer meetings, those people would look so mean. And I was so little. And I would stand next to the piano, and I would hear my grandmother in the back saying, I would start crying again. She said, she's going to stay there and sing that song until she's done. So you guys might as well, let her stand there. So I continued to sing. But when I got into the corporate environment, it was a little bit more of a shift because the singing was the part that freed me. And I was like a butterfly or like a bird or being all that God wanted me to be. Yet when I got off the stage, I was still Miss Corporate America, Miss, Fortune 500 company, working for 35 years. And what I found was, to be honest with you, the singing is what brought me through as it relates to all of the I don't use the word stress, opportunities. And I'm gonna be honest with you, being almost perfect. Because when I was working in marketing, if they're printing 5,000 brochures and there's a period out of place and they've lost thousands of dollars, being perfect, being all things to all people. And when I would get on that stage and just sing to my Heavenly Father, and it's just me and him, and I forget there's an audience, all of the burdens of the work, the life, the image, the brand would just lift. And when it was lifting off of me, what I found was strong, husky, big men would come to me and say, I don't know if you understand this, but when you started singing, I felt chains fall off of me. And then I knew it wasn't just for me. It was for everyone that could receive my gift, which is the gift of ministry through music. So I would say if it wasn't for the singing, I probably wouldn't have made it 35 years. And what I found was, I'm just going to go a little bit deeper because I feel this. What I found was, after going through a divorce of 31 years, from 20 to 51, my mother passing a few weeks after within the year of my divorce, moving out of the house that I moved into to move into a condo, the condo being sold from up under me 2 weeks after my mom was in the ground, and deciding to stop working 2 months after that. So I had no mother, no husband, no house, and no job. I'm going to be honest with you. What sustained me was my connection to music, and that is ministering to music. So I would say to that question, it sustained me. It let me know who I really was and what I was born to do. And the corporate job was just the money and the way for me to sustain my lifestyle and give 10% back to my church. Excel Church, whoop, whoop. Pastor Derek and Zelphia Rains, whoop, whoop. Give back to my church So all of that kind of collaborated together for me to be the person that I am today. Good question.
Maybe we should close the session giving you a chance to sing for us, if that's something you would agree to.
I would love to do that. I'm gonna close by singing this, and then I'll close with singing. I have finally found what I was born to do. After giving to corporations for 35 years, the CEOs love me. My reviews would go to the top in these Fortune 500 companies, and they would say, "What is that girl doing in Jacksonville? Who is she?" And the only thing I was doing was serving people in those corporate entities and getting them where they needed to go. Now I'm in a place as the CEO of my own business, TLC Enterprise, taking care of small businesses and individuals. And I'm helping those business owners literally attract, retain, and maintain morale through a plethora of services, focusing on AFLAC for supplemental benefits as the CEO of my own business. And I'm in the best place that I could ever be in my life. Because when I leave a family's home, and I have a young person that's purchased life insurance for his family, and he said, "Miss Tammy, I don't have to do a GoFundMe account for family members because I'm doing the right thing proactively." Or I have a business owner that, decided to get benefits for a small business, and they never thought they could afford them. And I'm telling them, wait, it's no charge to you. It's the cost of, we can't say a Happy Meal because we're all so health conscious now. So I say, it's the cost of a bag of avocados. And I drive up to purchase a meal, and the man's wife, one of the employees' wives, say to me, "Oh my gosh, you're that Aflac lady. You're that lady that, my husband bought life insurance from, or short-term disability. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Go ahead, my seasoned chicken and ribs. Mr. Brooks allowed us to do this." And I said, "You go tell Mr. Brooks, thank you. I am living my best life." I will close with a song because I don't want to run over. Are you ready?
Sure.
Lord, if I find favor in your sight, Lord, please hear my heart's cry. I'm desperately waiting to be where you are. I'll cross the hottest desert, no matter near or far, for your glory. I will do anything just to see you, to behold you as my King, for your glory.
Thank you, Ms. Tammy. It was a great pleasure to have you on our session.
Thank you for taking the time to watch these career success stories. More career resources are available at this channel. We greatly appreciate receiving your feedback in the comment section for our future improvement. Make it a fantastic day.